The stakes are high for both Boeing and NASA as they navigate the latest challenge, bringing astronauts back from the ISS safely. The mission was a success in getting the crew to the space station, but now the return trip poses a critical question: can Boeing handle it alone, or will they need to swallow their pride and seek help from SpaceX? Boeing's reputation is on the line, and admitting defeat isn't an option. Instead, they've opted for a temporary fix, postponing the return date. However, with the current state of the Starliner, especially dealing with its fifth helium leak, is this delay a viable solution? We'll dive deep into this complex issue and explore what it means for the future of space travel. Bringing astronauts home is never a straightforward task. The successful launch to the ISS marked a significant milestone for Boeing, but ensuring a safe return is equally critical. This mission's complexity is heightened by recent technical troubles. The Starliner, despite its sophisticated design, has been plagued by problems, the latest being a fifth helium leak. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a significant issue that could jeopardize the entire mission. NASA and Boeing are in a bind. Delaying the return might buy them time, but it's not a guaranteed fix. Each additional day in space puts more strain on the spacecraft and the crew. The decision to delay was made to provide engineers with the opportunity to monitor and address the helium leaks. But will this be enough? The Starliner's parachute and thruster systems have already proven unreliable in past tests, leading to delays and safety concerns. Fixing these issues is not just about patching leaks, it's about restoring confidence in Boeing's ability to safely transport astronauts. Imagine the hardest landing experience you've ever had. This is how NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore described his unforgettable landing in the winter of 2015. He was returning to Earth in a Russian Soyuz spacecraft after spending 167 days aboard the International Space Station, ISS. The landing location was the solid ground of Dasa's Kazgan, Kazakhstan. The Soyuz spacecraft descended by parachute, and its braking at the bottom was supposed to cushion the impact just before hitting the ground. However, with the ice-covered soil in the cold November, those systems didn't work as expected. "I didn't get the breath knocked out of me, but I was still shocked," Wilmore recalled. For his upcoming re-entry mission on Boeing Starliner, Wilmore expects a gentler experience. The Starliner will bring Wilmore and Williams to a soft touchdown under parachutes and atop airbags in the western United States. Potential landing locations include 2 targets in the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, Wilcox, Arizona, and the Dugway Proving Ground in Utah. Edwards Air Force Base in California is also available as a contingency landing site. This mission marks the first time an American spacecraft descending by parachute will touch down on land instead of in the ocean, eliminating the need for recovery vessels to scramble to the splashdown site. To cushion the impact, the Starliner is equipped with inflatable airbags that Wilmore and Williams call their marshmallows. To make Wilmore's dream a reality, Starliner's 2 troubled components, the parachute and the thrusters, must first be reliable. Issues with the parachute system contributed to the indefinite delay of the spacecraft's crewed flight test in 2023. And the thrusters? "Oh my God, I get sick of talking about it," Wilmore expressed his frustration. The thrusters are the main culprits, making the astronauts' journey to the ISS aboard Starliner a nightmare. If NASA and Boeing can't handle this mess they've made, they might have to call SpaceX for help. But that's too embarrassing. So, they've decided to push back the return date of the Boeing Starliner to no earlier than Tuesday, June 18, meaning their stay at the ISS will last 2 weeks. The purpose is to give the crew time to complete a spacewalk and allow engineers to monitor 3 small helium leaks that were detected in the capsule following the initial launch. The initial plan was for the flight crew to spend a brief 8 days on the space station. Much of their time will be spent testing the Starliner and ensuring it will be suitable to carry future crews for longer stays. Tests will be run on some components, including Starliner's solar arrays, communications, onboard computers, power systems, and more. They will also check the simple matter of the ship's airtightness when it arrives in port. Simply approaching and docking with the station will demonstrate that the spacecraft's navigation and positioning systems work. This is important not just to prevent air leaks but to establish that the spacecraft can serve as a shelter-in-place haven in the event of an emergency, like a sudden depressurization of the station, a fire, or a toxic ammonia leak from the coolant system used in the ISS's American modules. It's safe to say that Boeing Starliner's CFT mission this time is considerably different from SpaceX Dragon's Demo 2 mission. Even though both are the first crewed test flights and the final major step for the spacecraft to get NASA certification, the significant time gap shows that NASA was more serious and careful with SpaceX's vehicle. While Dragon set its first foot in space in 2020, Boeing's clock was still ticking. An only partly successful uncrewed test flight in 2019 saw the ship get to space but failed to dock with the ISS. The second chance for Boeing Starliner, called Orbital Flight Test, an uncrewed demonstration mission, also had a rocky journey similar to its third test flight, the crewed flight test. It wasn't until May 2022 that the company launched a successful uncrewed test mission, slipping nearly 2 years compared to the initial schedule. The final challenge, named Boeing Crewed Flight Test, came as Boeing faced serial woes on its commercial aircraft side. After 2 crashes of its 737 line in 2018 and 2019 respectively claimed 346 lives, a door blew off a 737 MAX jet during a flight in January 2024. A series of serious accidents forced Boeing to sit on the hot seat. As predicted, the 737 failed multiple Federal Aviation Administration audits in the wake of the incident. Much worse, 2 whistleblowers who had come out against the company regarding production and safety issues suddenly died, one on May 2 of a severe infection and the other in March of an apparently self-inflicted gunshot wound. Although Boeing did not assume any responsibility for the affair, the company has borne the brunt of public outrage. Perhaps to save face, both NASA and Boeing space divisions have tried to put the public off the scent with the Starliner launch. Finally, they took the vehicle off the ground successfully. "We have humans flying on this vehicle," Mark Nappy, vice president and manager of the Boeing Commercial Crew Program, said. "We always take that so seriously. We signed up to do this, and we're going to do it and be successful at it." Yet, how do they bring the astronauts home safely? It's a truly difficult equation for both Boeing and NASA. After all, Williams and Wilmore are the ones who expect the success of the mission more than anyone. It not only helps ensure their lives but also, we want to go and get back as quickly as possible so they can turn our spacecraft around and also take all those lessons learned and incorporate them into the next Starliner, says Williams. Assuming the mission succeeds, it's highly likely that a few of those next Starliners are to serve NASA's missions from 2030 onwards. NASA is hoping the spacecraft will continue in service to provide what NASA calls dissimilar redundancy, literally avoiding SpaceX's monopoly. The bruised Boeing brand should be recovered, and the successful Starliner project is expected to be a suitable treatment. If Boeing goes out of its space business, a number of nationally important projects will suffer in some way. The giant company was the prime contractor on the space station itself and the prime contractor for the design, development, test, and production of SLS and so forth. SLS plays a vital role in NASA's Artemis mission. If the government decertifies Starliner, that is no small thing. Those projects probably have a big funding cut. Emily Nelson, NASA's chief flight director, stressed that the ISS is the longest continuously operational spacecraft in human history, so we're excited to bring the two together. However, we always pray that NASA will not risk human lives on this vehicle again. CST-100 should only be the cargo version and serve commercial resupply service programs. Musk's Crew Dragon spacecraft continues to dominate in flying astronauts to the ISS, at least until the crewed version of Sierra